Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Hey, welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny. I'm Chris Carr.
I'm Kristen Johnson, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It is New Year's Day, and we just thought we'd do an impromptu show. I hope you guys were able to check out our pre-recorded show that we played just a little while ago with Dr. Joe Gallenberger, author of Inner Vegas, and this is a fantastic book. If you didn't see it, go back in the archive and check that out, because a truly amazing, cool book about beating casinos, changing your life, and all kinds of things. And it just seemed very appropriate for New Year's, for 2022.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We're feeling pretty good about 2022.
Yeah, we are.
You know, our predictions were a little dire, and we'll delve into that a bit later. But on Thursday, on our Dark Horse show, we tried to leave things on a good note. But on a personal level, like, we feel pretty good about, the upcoming year. But we had a funny story today. We were getting ready for the show. I was taking a shower.
Well, it was supposed to be a very quiet day for us. We had no music, nothing. It's just really chill and quiet. We like that sometimes. So while Chris was in the shower, the cats kept scratching at the door, and
I have two cats, and they're both looking at the door, and they were scratching at it and just being weird, right?
Yeah. So I was looking. I'm like, oh, is there a buggy? It's a big thing. Is there a buggy? And no bugs. So I'm looking, and I'm like, I hear a scratch, a very faint scratch
on the outside of
the door. And Chris comes out of the shower. I'm like, this is me, Christopher. There's something out there.
Yep. And I see the two cats, and they're both poised at the door, looking like really curious.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, I live on a second floor, and sometimes we have a door. The door downstairs to the outside is open, and there's a cat that in our neighborhood that will come up those stairs. He goes house to house and begs. He's kind of cute.
I'm like, Chris, the door's not open.
Looking for food. And she says, the door's not open.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, well, that's interesting. So I go outside just to see what it is, of course. And I look down the stairs. I look in the hallway to the right. I don't see anything. I'm looking at these things. I'm like, whoa. And I just have the thought. And I hear her say, actually, at that time, the door was closed. I'm looking, and the door is closed. I can see that. And I turn around to go back into our house, and I felt a tap on my shoulder, like, and I went, and my first thought, oh my God, there is something to this, and I turn around like there's demons or something, and I look
like
at
2 seconds in your brain,
Yep. Then I turn around, I whip around, I look, because now I'm like frightened. I got chills. Like, what the hell? There's a distinct tap, not a slight one, on my shoulder, and I look, and there's a field mouse on the stairs, and he apparently somehow had gotten up on the door frame of our door, and he dropped down, and I didn't see him drop down, and he just hit my shoulder, and he bounced off me, and I could see him on the stairs, like, who the hell are you? And he runs down the stairs. So yeah, that was interesting. Debunked,
it was
not
quite
so
funny,
paranormal,
though.
but kind of funny thing that happened to us today. So how are you guys? How are you all feeling out there? I see Anne-Marie Young. Hello, Anne-Marie. Happy New Year. Joshua Dixon, how are you doing? Happy New Year. I'll watch the other show later. Yes, check it out. It's a good one. It's from a while ago. It's from earlier in the year, before we were on the Paranormal United Network, on Pun, and it's in our archives. We have a bunch of archive shows because we've been doing this for a while. Let's see. Happy New Year from Sydney, Cherokee Child. Hey, Cherokee, how you doing? Robert Riggy, hi, my friends. Hey, Happy New Year, Robert. Hope you're doing well, buddy. We've got to get you back on the show. Tell us some more stories. We've got to pick up. In fact, I'm going to reach out to you either tonight or tomorrow about doing a date to follow up our last show, if we haven't already set it in stone. I have to check our schedule. I have a lot to catch up on. We got busy with the holidays and everything, and just got crazy. What else we got here? Joshua is laughing. Yeah. All right. All right, guys. So we don't have a guest tonight. It's just us. We wanted to do like an open lines. And see, I know if you're interested in jumping on the show, I'll send you a link. We don't do phones, so I can bring you into our live stream, and you don't have to use your camera if you don't want. You want to just talk, tell us a story. Oh geez, Robert Riggy says right now we are in the central part of Illinois and are in the midst of a horrible blizzard.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I saw something about that on the news. Yeah, I did. And it did look like that. Yeah, some crazy stuff. The wildfires in Colorado. This is one of the things we were talking about on Thursday on our prediction show, which was an awesome show with Deborah Lynn Katz and Michelle Freed, expert remote viewers. We take remote viewing classes from Michelle, and we continue to do work with her, and Deborah Lynn very recognized in that field. Absolutely. And so climate change was a thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she was in Third Eye Spies. You guys seen Third Eye Spies? If you like that remote viewing stuff, it was made by Russell Targ, and I believe we watched it. I think it's free on Prime right now, Amazon Prime if you've got it. I think it's also on YouTube, like with commercials or something. It's really cool. It talks about the government's Stargate program that was started by Russell Targ, Hal Puthoff, and it goes into remote viewing and what really happened there and what they were doing and saw. We talked a little bit about Ingo Swann as well. Very interesting character from that world. But the predictions, long and short of it, climate change was a big one that kept coming up. Not sure. What do you guys think? Do you think we're in for a year where it's going to be freezing where it should be warm, and warm where it's freezing? It is pretty balmy.
Yeah, we were just talking about this.
Yeah, we're in Rhode Island right now, and it's like extraordinarily warm. I'm not sure what the temperature is. I mean, for January, we should have snow on the ground, that kind of thing. I'm just going to look. I'm going to guess like 45 or something.
I think
52.
I was just going to say, I think 50.
Yeah. 52 degrees out there. Very unusual.
It is. And we saw geese coming back.
Yeah,
we saw not. And I said, this isn't right.
And it's something we're not bird people. We're not part of the no bird movement. Or
I was just going to say, don't say
that. We don't know a whole lot about their migration patterns, but it seems odd to see them in January.
They look confused. I'm like, wow, we're all confused with this weather.
Robert says blizzard in Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, and parts of Michigan. Wow.
And he also said tomorrow morning was going to be minus 25. So.
Wow. Yep. And 11 inches of snow. And another comment here. Cherokee says, very hot day here in Australia, just chilling. That's what we're doing. And getting over New Year's. Sending love to all. Over there struggling with blizzards and fires in Colorado. Yeah. Anne Marie. I have a sore throat and sound like a frog today. Well, I got something to say about the frog.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Anne Marie, to hear that. So
let me tie it back to something we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
In that previous show with Dr. Joe Gallenberger, we were talking about HemiSync because he's done some work with HemiSync and created these guided meditations, and they use different frequencies in each ear that sort of aligned the lobes of your brain, if you will, the two halves, and put them together and put you in a kind of a fast track to a deeper meditation. And we love these things, and just starting the gateway ones, which is very interesting. But I've got this headset. In fact, I brought it out here. I wanted to show you guys. If you get into this, if you're into guided meditations at all, it doesn't have to be HemiSync. This is a really good product, and I'm just going to mention it. I bought it off of Amazon. I don't know this company. This one is called LC Dolida, Dolida, and this is a Bluetooth eye mask with speakers on the side, and it's really comfortable. It's very padded. This is the second one of these kind of things I've gotten, and this one is much better than the last one. The last one was more like a wrap that you put, and it had wires, and I just thought the wires would be more reliable, but F that. It they dangle in your face and stuff. It's really annoying. This is rechargeable. You just charge it up with like USB, and it'll last like an entire night. And we'll play, and you can sync it to like your phone or whatever. Go on YouTube. There are lots of HemiSync, like official videos on YouTube that you can try these out. And one of them is really, really trippy. It's called Between Worlds. And you start hearing this kind of music, and there's no narration in it. It's just like meditation music. And there's a lot of natural sounds in it, including frogs. And where it's in stereo, and you get your eyes closed and you're in this state, you start hearing these frogs like all over the freaking place. And it's weird, man. And there's like water running and stuff. It's so trippy. But it is relaxing, but it's a little strange. And there's like some UFO sounds. I'm like, wow, I really am getting between words. I felt like I was going to turn into a tadpole or something.
That's what he texts me. Well, that's when I'm like, oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I did. And
you felt like a god.
You like smoking any of the Chiba, I think that'll just take you to a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Joshua, yeah, it's warm in New York in November too. Yeah, 42 degrees in New Hampshire, Luann. Lounder Dunham says 42. Yeah, 52 here. We're just below you in Rhode Island. So yeah, it's even warmer here. And like there's been a fog. And it's just very strange news. Really quiet, right, Chris?
Yes, very quiet, very calming. But as Chris and I see it, we see it as something new for us, changing for us.
And it changes in the air. That's what we kept saying. And it seemed literal because there was all this fog. It was extremely foggy last night. It was
eerie.
And yeah, we had a very chill New Year's.
Yeah.
I didn't even drink, which is like, I don't even remember when I've done that on a New Year's. That is the drinking holiday. We made a nice chili and in our instant pot.
Oh, we call it Insta pot because it's big A.
Instant pot. But yeah, it's an instant pot, and it came together really quickly. It was wicked good. Yeah, enjoyed that. Let's see here. Oh, and it says weather patterns are off. It's 65 in Virginia. Yeah, wow.
Robert Ricky wants to.
Oh yeah, Robert. Yeah, if you want to hop on, just let me know when you're ready. I will send you a link. You can join the show. Come on, say hi. I'd like to hear you guys' stories and what you're planning for New Year's. So what's on your minds? It was extraordinarily quiet in my neighborhood. Like this is a neighborhood that gets like crazy in the holidays. Fireworks illegal in Rhode Island, and people were just setting them off. In fact, last New Year's Eve, like just after midnight, people were setting off fireworks and literally burned down a house like 2 doors away.
5 minutes later.
There are pictures on our Bigfoot and the Bunny Facebook page of that fire.
We're like, wow, this is going to be a great year.
Insane. Like, oh my God, what a bad omen.
Yeah.
But, speaking of bad omens, we just lost somebody, 99 years old.
Yeah, Betty
White. That is not the best omen I can think of for New Year's Eve.
No.
God, no. Yeah. So, hey, fingers crossed here, guys. Right? Jeez. Betty White. Rest in peace, Betty White. What are you thinking about the weather? It's going to be strange. All right, Joshua, sounds awesome. Cold here in Colorado, the under freezing, Brenda Walker says. Luann says no snow either. Yeah, no, there wouldn't be with that warm weather. Heck no. Cherokee. What do you guys got happening this year? Well, that's a very good question. So getting back to that HemiSync and the face mask and all that stuff, we're planning on doing the complete Gateway program. And the Gateway program is pretty interesting because the CIA investigated it because it's that profound. The out-of-body experiences that come through those meditations upon completing them or going through them enough and are supposed to be life-changing. And I don't know if you're familiar with out-of-body experiences, astral projection, or even lucid dreaming. It's a wonderful thing, and do have these experiences before, but can't really do them on demand the way I like to. I particularly liked astral projection in middle school. I was very drawn to it. I was a weird kid, creepy kid. That's how you end up doing this stuff. Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind. I fully accept my creepiness. Thank you.
So do I.
And I have trouble doing it now. Once in a while, I do realize I'm dreaming and have an experience, but I want to be able to do it more on demand. So I have found it and started doing these things and a lot. And I'm finding myself just more calm, relaxed, handling situations better. We had a tense day yesterday, no, the other day. It was yesterday morning. A lot of things going on. It was just like, normally I would bug, and I've been doing these meditations and I just felt really in control. And so I'm really feeling the effects of them. They are kind of a fast track, and we have no association with Hemisync. We would like to. If you're listening out there, I would like some more meditation sent in my way. But yeah, no, that's kind of one of the big things. It's a big package. There are a lot of them in the series.
I want anti-aging
Yeah.
sent my way.
Let's do that. It's got to be a way to do that.
It's a girl thing. I keep telling him this. I'm like, everything I say to him, brush my hair, whatever. I'm like, it's a girl thing. He can't understand it. Girls,
So more meditating is on the horizon for us, and seeing where that goes and how that ties back to the paranormal. You've had a lot of activity here. I know you guys, if you're a repeat listener, you've seen the cat ball going off on the back shelf and camera shifting, different things. We want to be able to see them better rather than detect them. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We do see things, but not everything. Don't always know what's going on. So we want to be able to tune it. And I just think the mind is going to be like a better paranormal tool than, say, the millimeter I was talking about in the previous video. And while that's great for confirmation and those sort of things, we want to know who's here, more what their intentions are. We also think that a lot of spirits seem to fit into roles. There are so many, little girls and little boys, Toby from our previous podcasts, things of that nature. The woman in white is always a good example because every town has a woman in white ghost story. Certain demonic hauntings. I've had that experience where the spirits identified themselves as some kind of demon, and I don't think they were. To be able to better see what's going on,
Right.
So we were trying to just tune into that better. So there's paranormal reasons for it. We do talk about parapsychology and kind of some seemingly lofty subjects sometimes. You get into telepathy, and you might ask, like, how does that tie back to doing an investigation? Well, that's how, remote viewing a location, for instance, before you go there, I think is a fantastic idea to kind of understand what the hot spots are or what might be happening before you ever arrive on location. Lots of comments out here. Let me put up a couple of these.
I'm trying to keep up with them. I had to refresh the page.
Love chill, but no beans.
Yes,
not a beans fan. I don't like the texture. Oh yeah, no beans. Well, that sounds like our kids, right?
I just said that. Yeah.
Yep.
Weird kids make for interesting adults.
Absolutely. Let's see. Joshua says major fireworks last night. It pissed me off. My dogs are terrified, and it's so dry in Florida. Well, yeah. Well, that is a concern, right? Those wildfires in Colorado were caused by wind gusts taking out power lines, and just the sparks of a couple of power lines. And look what's happening. Thousands of people have lost or had to evacuate, lost their homes or had to evacuate. If you're following those stories, it's pretty damn intense.
It's weird.
I guess it's snowing.
Spoke about the other night.
Yeah,
it's snowing now.
Hopefully
I guess
that helped. Love Betty. She was amazing on The Bold and the Beautiful, and as a horrid mother, complete opposite of her sitcom characters. Yes.
Yeah, I liked her in what was that? It was one of my favorite movies with her in it. Lake Placid. She was so funny because she did was swear, and she's wicked funny.
Cherokee says weird kids make for interesting adults. There you go. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, that's complete weirdo.
Yes, anti-aging, please.
Yes, please, anti-aging.
Yes, but Joshua Dixon said, to have collagen
cream.
Some collagen cream. Thanks.
They're
amazing, not
Kristen.
working.
And for guys too. Yeah, well, I could use a little of that. I got something in there, but I forget to use it because I'm old. Brenda says, yeah, it's so tired. We're intense. And thankfully, my nieces were okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Fires. Oh, the fires.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so that's on deck. There were some projects last year that we started and it got cold. There were documentary we're kind of working on one particular documentary type film thing that we want to do, but of course it's all digital. But we started it and we took some footage, and we had gotten some EVPs and we played that for you guys earlier last year, and we didn't get to finish that. So we're hoping to do that. Some people reached out to that will join us, and that should be really interesting and good. And we'll have that on our pages and our networks. Probably when it gets a little warmer, we can get back out to film it. It's a very interesting story. It involves Stigmata. So
yes.
And yeah.
Yep. I love what Cherokee Child just said. Okay. We are so with you on this.
Many novice investigators are too quick to call a spirit demonic because they don't understand the difference. In a way, spirit communicates. What are your thoughts?
Well, like I said, we definitely agree with you.
Yeah, we agree. I don't think they're all
no. They're
demonic.
If you're going to be demonic, like if they feel that way, I'm a feeling person, so they're more negative spirits, not demonic.
Right. I think that the actual different kind of entity, and demon is a funny word. We have a whole series of podcasts on what we call the D word, the D word series, and we talk to demonologists, and also our friend Ken Allen is a practitioner of magic that involves really the manipulation of demons, and him and I have been on done some of the same path work. I don't do it as frequently, and Ken is an active practitioner, expert in it, and we brought him on to talk about it. So you should check those out. Some of those are in our archives wherever you're watching us right now. But I should remind you, we also have a audio podcast out there for Dark Horse Paranormal, and if you look that up whenever you get your podcasts, you'll see a whole bunch of them. And there's some really good things. We talked about Native American hauntings in our area, as well as Toby and our Spider Gates investigations, which we called the undisclosed location for a very long time because I don't really encourage paranormal investigations there. But that was a real awakening for Kristen and I going there. Like, oh
yeah, definitely.
Gosh. And I'll tell you, everything got crazier after that. It got to the point where we had to stop doing this for a little while because we were really like haunting our own homes. Not that they aren't haunted now, but
I was just going to say that
they just seem a little less, negative, I guess. Let's see. Stigmata is a very interesting phenomenon. It sure is. I think so. And there's a big question with it. Is it God touching this person? And, they're so dedicated. The person in question, and we're going to discuss, she's passed now, but in her day was a local legend. And this is earlier in the 1900s. People would gather from all around, and things like, bleeding from her eyes and stuff really happened, and it's well documented. And she was in pain. She was a bedridden person. She was completely committed to God from a very early age as a child. And she was also very psychic, which we find fascinating, right?
Right. From a very
in fact, she would find her friends would hide things, and she would tell them where it was and that kind of thing. And in fact, that time she wasn't bedridden, but later in life, I think by the time she was like 18 or 20, she was bedridden. And the thing was, she really suffered,
the more she suffered, the more she kept being more psychic because she thought that Jesus or God was giving her these gifts.
Right. And they may well
more appreciative.
And we're not going to say that didn't happen. But there's another question in there. Can your mind manifest these things? Can you manifest your own eyes bleeding, right? Things of that nature. People show the marks of stigmata,
like psychosomatic,
the nail markings on the palms and those kind of things, or spear in the side. Very fascinating. And there's some phenomena associated with that in her particular burial place. Is very interesting. Cherokee asks, do you think it's because of the way Hollywood depicts them? Oh, going back to the D word, right? Yes, I think that's a lot. Definitely. And you hear that in paranormal circles a lot. People kind of shy away from, they either it seems like there's two camps. They either shy away from the D word, or they're full on and everything's a demon. It's a demon, dude. All of everything. That. And we're definitely in the camp that shies away from it, because I don't think that it's always discarnate, meaning human spirits that are causing the phenomena. But I do think that it's very possible some are, and I do believe demons are real, but I don't think they're just necessarily the way we think about them. I think there are entities out there that we can't see. We just don't have the ability to perceive them with our human bodies, our physical selves, that exist, and sometimes cause chaos, cause havoc in people's lives. Absolutely. But it's rare. It's things like serial killer phenomenon, which Robert is expert in, Robert Riggy, who interviewed Ted Bundy in his last days in prison. I think and something like that,
Yes.
you may well be talking about a demon. I don't know that human spirits can be that evil, but like, humans themselves, not everything is evil, right? And even if you, first off, not everything's a ghost, right? Absolutely not.
No.
And noises in your house, so you don't think everything is a ghost by any stretch. We do experience a lot of phenomena. We do. We can't totally explain why, but it has something to do with us being a couple and doing this stuff.
It just happens. It's
we both had haunted childhoods. I
chemistry
think
between
part
us.
of it too. A lot of our guests have haunted childhoods. We both have very haunted childhoods. Yeah, I don't know. We're still trying to figure that out, but we keep it real. Check our stuff out. We got some pretty good data in those podcasts.
So one thing we don't call is evidence. It's data.
That's right.
Because we don't know. None of us know. We can't figure it out.
But to your point, if people think it's a demon, maybe that acts as a beacon, and sometimes it is some kind of other entity.
Joshua Dixon said, "Well, it could be a mouse."
No, it could be a mouse. Exactly.
I
exactly.
love him.
Exactly. We were laughing. We were like, "Oh my god!" And I jumped. I literally had chills, Joshua.
For like 5 seconds.
Like,
0.5 seconds.
Like, what was that? And I whipped around, and
Yeah.
I saw the mouse on the stairs. And in this area, there are a lot of field mice, and they try to get in the winter, even though it's not that cold. I don't know where it came in from, but it was out in the stairway. So yeah, little guy, big black eyes looking at me. I'm a demon.
Brenda Walker, thank you for sending the 200 stars.
Oh, thank you very much. We appreciate that. The stars is a new thing on the Paranormal United Network, and we appreciate that kind of support. We love it. So thank you. We very much appreciate it. That is awesome. So, okay, Hollywood picks them. I'm sorry, I got so many comments up here. I got to go sift through them. And that's a good question. If your mind can manifest the energy into the phenomenon, well, that's just it. That previous show we just rebroadcast was about manifestation, and I think you do manifest things. It may occur on like a quantum level. There's a lot of science there people don't understand, and they throw that term around a lot. Quantum, we are trying to understand that better, without just going, "Oh, it's quantum, man." And that's a good question. I think you manifest a lot of things. You can definitely manifest a better life. There's a synchronicity in the world that is very real. Carl Jung coined that term, synchronicity. And it's a fascinating phenomenon in and of itself. The world does seem to give you the things you need when you need it. And it seems about the laws of attraction. There's some truth to them.
Absolutely. Chris and I have had that since we were little, and it's just weird how it panned out at the end here.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we are. We've had so many synchronicities between us even before we really met.
It blows our minds.
We kind of crossed our paths a lot in childhood and that kind of thing. And that's our story. Joshua says, "I'd love to come on sometime, but coughing so bad. But definitely in the new year." Sure. We plan on doing more of these open line shows. We love having guests, and it's the best thing. But we also like just, hey, let's hang out. Let's hang out with you guys. Let's tell some stories. Let's see what you guys are seeing out there, and we'll share our data with you, because that was always our plan. It was never to just be hosts of a show. We're actually researchers and investigators, and we do stuff. Although it's been a little quiet lately with going out in the field, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's winter, and that kind of stuff. And with holidays came, and boy, time is just flying. Last month just went by so fast.
Really did. But thank God it's over.
Joshua says, "Is that the same as speaking in tongues, stigmata?" Well, no, that's more like possession. And I think speaking in tongues is referred to in more possession cases. Stigmata is more where a person is touched by God, and they tend to show evidence on the physical body, evidence or data of being crucified. And that can be from everything from seeing Jesus on your toast to actually having the crucifixion marks and that Jesus wore. So bleeding from the eyes is another one that's pretty common. Virgin Mary, there's a whole thing to that as well. Just very interesting stuff, and a lot of it is documented. It is in the case of the documentary we're working on.
There's two very good things in the chat too.
I'm working on it.
You do that, baby.
And the Judd says, I believe ancient Aramaic is one of the speaking in tongues languages.
Yes,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Speaking in Latin is just a classical one. We were watching what was that movie we saw? Was it called Possessed?
Yes.
Recently, and it's what The Exorcist was based on, sort of. The person in question was male. It's a different story. It's the first documented Catholic and endorsed church endorsed exorcism that occurred in the United States. And that was a fascinating movie. I think we saw that on Prime as well. So check that out.
The Language of Jesus, Robert Rees said, yeah.
Cherokee says, what are your thoughts on paraunity? Yeah, I'm tapping you because I can't see all the comments, babe. What are your thoughts on paraunity? We have found that true paraunity is rare. I totally agree. We agree. We're on the same page there. Yes, we definitely agree. We think it's a good thing, but I think it's also, bullshit in a lot of cases.
Okay.
I see a lot of people say they're into paraunity, and then
right.
It's not a real thing.
It's not real to them. They don't appreciate. They're not grateful.
We will say that the Paranormal United Network,
yes,
which sponsors this kind of paraunity stuff, has been great with it, and that's awesome. I think it's a great thing. I mean, people should be able to express their views, not be shunned for their views. We should support each other as a community. I love the community stuff that happens within the paranormal. We've seen it like conventions and stuff. And
Wilson Castle, there you go. We had
Mass Paracon, saying about Trucis. Awesome stuff. Yeah. People really do support each other. But then you see instances where it's just not
it's
true at
drama
all.
It's so much drama on so many teams and so many places.
That's right. There's a lot of drama. It follows this paranormal stuff from day one, the teams to networks to just being involved in the field.
And we can't be bothered with that because
somebody who's dramatic, and honestly, the people that
it's not us.
Cry it's drama tend to be the ones causing it, is my experience. But we're gonna say, it's drama. It's not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. And it's not, I swear it's not us. We're not dramatic people.
Sorry, I'm giggling. Sorry. We were talking about this last
night. See if I can catch up with it.
It's aliens.
A couple things. Brenda says, synchronicity is weird. Don't know if you can send it to, is it coincidence or something else? Okay, well, is anything a coincidence? I tend to think there aren't a lot of coincidences, but of course it's possible. It's scientifically possible. But no, I really do think the world gives you what you need, and it may not always feel good. Sometimes they do it without Vaseline.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna stop at the what? Grateful gratitude. Yes.
Joshua says, I've heard that some people can manifest powers with powers of the mind. I enjoy these viewer shows. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Man.
Yeah.
One of the best books.
Absolutely. Well, psychokinesis was the topic of that show we just played. And that is doing exactly that, from spoon bending and changing your life, or beating a casino odds, for instance, which Joe has done in just crazy levels, to PK Man. I'll just point to it. You see that book in the back. That is written by Jeffrey Mishlove, who we're huge fans of his show, Thinking Aloud, or New Thinking Aloud. And that is his work with a gentleman that was named Ted Owens. And Ted could manifest UFO phenomena and this was documented by like on newspapers and TV, and other people saw them, change the weather, possibly responsible for some really bad behavior. Fascinating
he had a big
story.
ego,
basically. A big ego, but he attributed his powers to talking to space intelligences. Highly recommend that book. It was really good. One of the better books I read last year. Absolutely. Jeffrey Mishlove is the author. You can find that on Amazon and other places. Let's see. Robert Riggy says, you're absolutely corrected. It's a blessing, almost a curse at the same time. The language of Jesus. Well, yeah, there you go. All right. I think you're referring to speaking in tongues, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Josh says, okay, gotcha. I've heard Sister Mary, statues, crying, blood, etc. Yes, right. And so this person we're talking about, she would cry blood, right? Weekly.
Sometimes daily.
Many throw around the term, but then their ego shows up. Oh, yeah, referring to para-unity. Absolutely. Ego's a big thing, The paranormal field is very weird. To me, it does not seem like a field that has a lot of money, but people are so passionate about it. It's like they're all fighting for scraps of, not a lot, with rare exceptions. I'm sure there are exceptions. Let's see. Linda Judd. A lot of people said prayers for me when I broke my ankle. The doctors who did surgery on my ankle remarked that it healed rapidly. So yeah, healing energy sent to me really worked. I absolutely believe that. I believe that.
It's like Reiki.
Right. Reiki is taken seriously. They perform it in hospitals. My sister is a nurse, and then she's performed Reiki. No, that's a good one. Absolutely, with the Reiki. Love this network. So do we, Joshua.
Thank you.
So do we. We do encourage you to check out our own pages. Not that it's much different, but sometimes we just throw up some, things that we're not doing for everyone. Bigfoot and the Bunny on Facebook, as well as Dark Horse Paranormal. Anne Marie Young says, gratitude. Absolutely. Gratitude. Cannot feel enough gratitude. It is a underused emotion, I feel. I think more people need to say it, and it's just not grateful.
Yes, they're not grateful.
I take it to weird levels sometimes, and I can't do it enough. I really don't do it enough, but I do it in some instances. One being the food I eat. I got on a kick where I wanted to be a vegan, and I've had trouble making that switch. But
I think we tried it for a week. It's baby steps.
Who knows what 2022 holds?
Yeah.
But I do give thanks to the animal, involved in the food now. And it's not every meal, but it's a few of them. And I swear it makes a difference. It makes me feel better. The food almost tastes better, which is a weird effect. Lots of jealousy, etc. Yeah, para-unity, absolutely. Robert Riggy, so much ego within our field. Tons of it. I do agree with you wholeheartedly. And Robert, let us know when you're ready to come on. I'll send you a link. I believe, let's see. Brenda says, I believe it's us, and I don't believe in UFOs. It's just really weird. When you say you believe in us, you're talking about psychic phenomena, or ghosts. Oh, I'm sorry, you corrected yourself. UFOs, my autocorrect is something else. Yeah, autocorrect has a mind of its own.
Yeah, it does.
There's your AI right there. AI, a pretty interesting topic. I think it's going to become a bigger issue for people. And why do I say that? I say that because recently McDonald's is launching a program where they're replacing workers with hamburger bots. Flippy.
That's his name.
Yeah,
it's a cobot.
Yep. That was one of them, for sure. He flips the burgers, like literally flips them.
And then the human comes over and doesn't
sprinkle some stuff,
whatever on them. And
yeah. No, that's a real thing. So that's coming. Like, they're going to have McDonald's that are drive up only. And their plan is they have no people involved at all. So you see that moving into the workforce, the cobots that Kristen just mentioned comes from Amazon. That is what they call them in the Amazon warehouses. They're creating more and more automated warehouses with less and less people. And that is the direction. I mean, it's technology. I don't, not afraid of technology. It's got us to where we are now, and I think it'll persist, but it will get to a point where a lot of the jobs and skills that people need are going to change rapidly. Some of them are able to program some of their basic AI selves. They can absolutely train the other employees, if you will. They just connect them and it trains the other one. Here's what you do. It's interesting, we're getting closer to those Terminator levels. Right. Robert says he's ready. All right, Robert, give me a moment. I will get that right over. Joshua says, I totally believe in UFOs. I saw one. We have seen UFO phenomena as well, and totally agree with you. In fact, our Bigfoot and the bunny name stems from a story about UFO phenomena. All right. Cherokee says, have an amazing show. Thanks so much. Catch you next show. All right. Yes, we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Hey, I'm coming. It's not if it's not here already on our phones. Artificial intelligence is coming. Yeah, right. No, it is there. It is there on your phone, and it's in a lot of things. I mean, think about the algorithm, getting lost in the algorithms of Facebook. YouTube is a good one. Pornhub. What? I mean, there are really, I'm kidding, but it's an algorithm, right? There's all kinds of algorithms out there. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can get that link.
Send Robert,
copy the clipboard. There we go.
Send you a link, buddy.
I'll send it to you on Facebook, Robert. So, what else we got in store for 2020, Chris?
2022, Chris?
2022. Boy, I've said that like 3 times today.
Yeah, who's the one that is having a glass of wine? Well, I'm sure we're going to start our documentary, but just start it at least.
Yeah, we got the documentary.
We're going to be...
What about mapping, brain mapping? We're talking about that, which came up in the other show.
I don't want to discuss that right now. It's another whole show entirety. We haven't done it yet. So
well, it's something we're looking at. We think that's pretty interesting, those changes. We did talk about that with Dr. Joe for a little while. You can actually see some of the changes, and we're curious about when phenomena occurs, because it does seem to occur enough that we might be able to capture and document through that software what's going on. And it kind of harkens back to the idea of that your mind maybe projects the ghost and that kind of thing. And I see Robert there. He's already on. That was fast, Robert. All right. Hang on, buddy.
I need a thingamajiggy. A light here.
A thingamajig?
Yeah. What? I don't want one of those thingamajiggies. I got you. Baby.
I'm going to do some StreamYard and chill. Hey, Robert, how are you doing, buddy? Can you hear?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You just popped in. Yep, perfect.
Thank you so very much, and hello, everyone. Good evening from in the middle of this blizzard.
Yes, Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you and to everyone. And I was fascinated about the little mouse.
Oh my goodness.
Little mouse, yes.
And Italian, I'm Italian and Spanish. And the folklore that if a mouse falls on you, because in Italian culture, mice are a sign of unclean spirit.
Really?
Oh, great. Yeah. So it is human.
So I don't know if you need to have your shoulder exercised by a priest or a shaman or whatever, but I'm sending positive vibes that nothing will happen to you. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. Apparently, we may need them. We do have a lot of odd phenomena around the house, and it happens. I don't totally know why. Don't think we're super or anything, but we feel like it's the mouse. It's mice.
The mouse.
Maybe that if we stick with that, they'll probably go away. I think the best banishing is to take things out of your mind. Change the subject.
Ignore it.
Better than a lot of the more other techniques that people commonly try. Certainly better than sage.
Yeah.
Do you know if the mouse comes on you?
The mouse on you?
What about the mouse on me? I'm sorry. I was reading a comment.
Did the mouse pee on you?
Did he pee on me? I don't think he peed on me. Or he wasn't. He bounced. It literally was. It had to have been on the door frame because I got a pretty wide door frame, and just sitting there, and the timing was like unbelievable. Like I look at everything, I turn around, and literally feel the tap on my shoulder, and then I heard something behind me, and it was him bouncing on the stairs, and he looked up, and I looked at him the same way, and yeah, that was a ironic moment. Happy New Year.
You'll be fine. But tonight everyone had so many questions, and the folks who watch your podcast, they're phenomenal. They're very intellectual. They have a lot of really thoughtful questions and comments. They really, really do. Talking about paranormal unity, talking about stigmata, talking about so many things, and that's one thing I like about your podcast, that you do have a lot of followers that are very intellectual.
Thank you, sir. We love our audience.
We do.
And we love shows like this, doing like open lines and talking to people so we can interact with them more. We had audience participation on our Thursday show, Dark Horse Paranormal, with predictions. We gave a topic out, and we would have people comment what their first thoughts were about that topic, going with that kind of gut instinct psychic phenomena effect. And that was very interesting, and it was an interesting experiment. Thank you, Michelle Freed, for that.
Yes.
Speed round, if you will.
Let me talk just briefly about several things. One of them is about the number 22. The number 22 is very powerful. People who are empaths, psychic mediums, clairvoyant, 22 will give them more power to their abilities. Their abilities will become more clarified in what they feel and what they experience. And so 2022 is going to also be an enlightening and awakening to many, many of us folks. And so look for that. Let it flow naturally. Let it happen naturally. And you'll find in 2022 that folks will begin to be more independent. They will be more assertive and less aggressive at times. Within the paranormal field, things will be changing for the better. Find a lot of these groups whose ego. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we hope so.
Hope so. Our audio is a little funky with you right now, and
I think
might have froze.
Because
speak clearly into the mic, whatever you're using.
I think the blizzard has a lot to do with it.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah,
or that,
for sure. Probably on 4G if you're using a phone rather than your Wi-Fi, because it might be out, or maybe it's getting affected, or maybe you got mice or demons.
Yeah.
Field mice.
That's funny.
Like numerology aspect of what you're saying, though. Look at the numbers. What do they mean?
It is, like I say, it's an enlightening, it's an awakening, it's a very powerful, masterful number. People who are born on the 22nd of the month, they have this innate ability to do so many things that at times they're afraid to act on them. I encourage anyone who is born on the date 22 to go with it. Go with the flow. Let it happen. It is truly an awakening for you. I was born on the 21st, but I was born at 11:59. So maybe I have some of those 22, traits too.
Absolutely.
But there are changes coming. I think our country is going to be changing from being very aggressive. I think the citizens of our country have had enough intrusion. I'm not going to get real political, but they're going to be standing up to the government and, and really regaining some of the maybe freedoms that have been taken away from us, like the freedom of wearing a mask or not, and those types of things,
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so so this year is going to be quite a different year. Of course, they say that every year, but in my heart and my spirit, it is going to be a year of change in many, many, many positive ways. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
All right.
what we could talk about is stigmata. Okay, is that okay?
No, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
We prefer the stigmata.
Yes.
Okay, stigmata being Roman Catholic, and also our Orthodox Christian friends, like Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Coptic, okay, that God has blessed many people in the world over these centuries with the stigmata, which is, that you folks were correct, that it is the wounds of Christ on the cross. Sometimes it can be, most of the times it's a blessing, but at times it can be a curse. There was a Catholic priest named Padre Pio in Italy, and he was canonized a saint in the 19th century. And and Padre Pio was a mystic. We would say that he was psychic, but in the Catholic Church they call him mystic.
Right. Isn't that not supposed to be a mystic or dubbed a mystic in the Catholic Church? Isn't that a thing?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is, very much so. Yes.
Right.
And with Padre Pio, to talk to him about the confession, in this confession. And Padre Pio would stop them and say, listen, I'll tell you your sins. And he did. Instead of them revealing sins or keeping sins that have been deep down in their hearts, he would tell them what their sins were. That's how psychic he was. In the church, we would say that he was mystic. Okay? St. Francis of Assisi also had the stigmata. And also there were several Catholic nuns. Sometimes they would just have the thorn in their forehead. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sometimes other people could see it and others couldn't. Mm-hmm. But the people who were blessed with the stigmata, they could feel it. They felt the pain that Jesus went through. The enormous pain from their brothers and sisters. I know in my life, I've never said this before, but I have prayed to God for the stigmata in my last days of my life.
So you see it as a blessing, as did the person we were talking about. I don't want to give too many details because we want to kind of keep our idea under wraps to a degree. We've already said a lot about it. It's particular to our area and that kind of thing. She really felt like it was a good thing and a positive thing in her life. She was thankful because she felt that she was taking the pains of Jesus in her day-to-day living. And is that what you're alluding to?
What I'm alluding to, is that, I volunteer all over the country with our brothers and sisters in need. And I think that I already have the stigmata because I feel their pain. Being an empath, being a psychic, I feel their pain. So I'm probably psychically or mystically already have the stigmata. Sometimes I feel that way because I do feel the pain of our brothers and sisters in need.
Awesome.
Yeah.
A couple hellos out there, one of which Ken Allen of the Wizard's Table.
He sings so to us every time.
You do. We sing it to each other. I don't know what that's about, but I love it. Hello, babies. Hello, Christopher and Robert. Wizard's Table.
Love you so much. And also, and my friends and family who are listening to this, please pray for Ken's mother, who's very ill. She needs a lot of positive vibe, energy going her way, please. And also for Ken, because it is emotional and physically draining to anyone whose loved one is very ill. So please, positive vibes, prayers for Ken and his family, his mother. Okay? Appreciate it.
That's right, folks. Send your healing energy that way.
Please.
We definitely will. Rachel Walters, hello and happy New Year. Hey, Rachel.
Happy New Year, Rachel.
Guys out there. Now, Robert, that's very interesting. It's a very different viewpoint on the stigmata than we tend to think about. We look at these things sometimes in horror, but you aren't people that are experiencing art. They're looking at it as a blessing.
Yes, very much so. And also the stigmata gives one physical and emotional strength. When I was out in New Mexico with our Native American brothers, and I volunteered at a homeless shelter and soup kitchen, one day the Missionaries of Charity, this was an organization that Mother Teresa started, and so I was there from January of last year until May of last year. And there were about 5 seminarians from Rhode Island, Catholic seminarians from Rhode Island, and so they came out and volunteered with us for a month. And during the day, I was laying down taking a nap because my part there at the soup kitchen and homeless shelter was working with the guys at night. Okay, and we housed about 200 at night, and so I was really tired one afternoon, so I lay down. About an hour later, the sisters knocked on my door, and they were screaming for me, Robert, we need your help. And I knew there were seminarians there and such, so I got up right away. And sister goes, someone's getting beat up outside. You have to help them. And I thought to myself, now there's 5 seminarians from Rhode Island who are big guys. What are they doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I understood these gentlemen, these young men were scared. These guys from Rhode Island came from very wealthy families, which is fine. God bless them. But they had never seen somebody beat up before. So I kind of pushed them. There was a gang of folks outside on the property. And I went out there, and my angels were with me. And I prayed for more light and wisdom and understanding, protection. And I said, listen, guys, this is holy ground. You need to leave and stop what you're doing. Well, they spit in my face as people stood in Christ's face when he was walking to Calvary. Okay, I'm no Jesus. I'm not saying that. But my spirit said, Robert, you have to lay down on this guy. You have to protect him because Jesus had no one to protect him while they were beating him and stuff like that. So I went through this crowd of guys. There was probably 20 guys. They were beating this guy badly, bloody. And I laid myself on top of him. And I began to be kicked. I had 2 black eyes, several broken ribs. But this man needed to be protected. I don't know what he did or didn't do, okay? That was not the point. The point being is that I believe that God put me in that certain place for these seminaries to learn about the ugliness in the world.
See? All right. Now that harkens back to what we were talking about with synchronicity and the way the world just seems to come together to affect certain events in your life. It could be something as simple as finding a $20 bill on the ground when you're broke to something as significant as what you're describing. That's fascinating. Do you see a correlation between synchronicity and religion?
I do. You call it synchronicity. I call it that God, because of my own spirituality, that God put us where we need to be at any given time for a specific reason. We may not understand what that reason is at very moment, but we will in time. So as I lay myself upon this gentleman, and this went on for 15 minutes, the police were called, but it took them a long time to get there. But finally they left. And then the
Audio's a
came
little
out.
underwater, Robert. Sorry.
I'm
Your audio's a little underwater.
It keeps going in and out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's your reception or the microphone. Just
from the.
I'm so sorry.
You're-
It probably
Hey,
was it a damn mouse.
you understand.
Maybe it's a mouse.
The mouse.
It's
Maybe
the mouse.
The mouse
That
in the
was
house.
so funny.
Could be. Absolutely.
But anyhow, but these submarines learned, that sometimes at times we're going to run into the ugliness of society, and we have to stand up for our brothers and sisters in need. And so what I went through was a very good learning situation for them. I was taken to the hospital, and this is another thing that happened. I was taken to a Native American hospital in Gallup, New Mexico, and that never happens, that a white man is taken to a Native American hospital, right? And I went, and they allowed me to go there. It was the closest hospital, and so was the gentleman. He was taken there too. But while I was there, a Native American shaman came in and did this ritual over me with sage and feathers. He was talking in the Navajo language, and that what I felt interiorly in my heart and in my spirit, that gave me even more energy to heal. It was fascinating. I will never forget that. His name is Daniel.
Wow.
And since then, Daniel asked me if I wanted to go to. I did. And then we went to Window Rock, Arizona, which is the seat of the Navajo Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to go into, I think I sent you a picture of this, maybe not, but I'm standing in front of what they call the window to the universe.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit when we had you on last time. And very fascinating, yes.
So I got to go in there, and they said, open your mind and close your eyes. And what I experienced, I was there only 5 minutes, and I felt like I was there for hours. I felt all the energy of the anger, the power, the frustration. I felt the sorrow, the death. I could hear the drums of the Native Americans beating their drums. I could hear the cavalry with their horns blowing. I could hear horses' hooves and stuff like that. It was an incredible experience.
Wow.
And
I'd love to have that experience.
Yeah, it's interesting with the drums, and you say that. There's a landmark kind of area in our location called Anawan Rock, and it's where Chief Anawan had his last stand. This goes back to the King Philip's War, which was the bloodiest war between the white man and the natives ever recorded. One of the bloodiest wars, if not, I think it's the per capita bloodiest war that America has ever been involved in, which is amazing. But of course, we're talking about much lower populations, but for the amount of people there and who died. But yeah, that was where he surrendered, and that's something that people commonly hear. So it's a giant rock. It's not.
Yeah.
It's something you need to climb. I mean, it is like, I think 75 feet wide, and it's like 20 feet high. You get up on the thing, and people report that they hear the drums.
Right. Just like in Window Rock, we had to climb. It took about an hour to climb up the mountain to this opening of this mountain. And I got to the window to the universe, as they say. My spirit just kind of like jumped. It was like, I don't know, my hair stood up on end. I physically was feeling the power, the energy of this beautiful window to the universe. And I will never forget that experience in my entire life. In fact, being there has really energized my spirit. It has really, I felt totally different coming down from the mountain.
Do you still feel that way? It's like a change in you?
Oh, very much so, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It has. It's to the fact that my abilities have gotten stronger, much, much stronger.
Wow, that's really profound.
Yes.
That's profound.
So if it wasn't for me getting beat up, it wasn't for me helping our brother in need, I would have never experienced into the wind.
So I would love to have that experience.
That's really that's good. I didn't realize it had that much of a profound effect on you. And
man.
tell you, your audio is a little shaky. So
it's better though.
I want to reach out and set up another show with you because we got to finish.
Fine. I appreciate that so much. And
that's what Open Lines is about. Thank you. Love the Native American culture. If you listen to our podcast on Native American hauntings, you'll realize that. And we talk a lot about the history. We really delved into it because it's a horrible thing to happen here. And I love those people.
Love, life, and peace to everyone. And also, if I can say one more statement and then I'll get off.
I don't know what I'm kicking you.
Always remember, to thy own self be true. Remember that for the year 2022. To thy own self be true.
I love that. Something my father says a lot. And that's his fatherly advice to me is often to thyself be true.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I agree with you 100%. And we really appreciate you coming on. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
brother. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love all of you.
Love you too, man. So yeah, there we go. Robert Riggy. We gotta have him back on.
God, he's awesome.
Discuss. We wrapped things up. We were talking about Ted Bundy, right?
Yeah.
It was a really good interview. You guys check it out if you haven't seen that one in the archives, whatever network you're listening to. Lots of people out there in the chat. Just want to give some shout outs. Liz Milne. Hey, how you doing, Liz? Good to see you again. Really appreciate you joining us. Yes. Happy New Year.
Hello, Liz. This is what I put in the comments. Hello.
Yeah, see, I don't see all your comments. So that's where I get a little perplexed.
Yeah, that's okay.
On my screen. But see some of them. It don't all come through. In fact, I don't get all the comments on the screen I'm looking at. Anyways, Joshua says, I still believe in evil, but do you have to believe in Judeo-Christian religion, in my opinion? No, you don't have to.
Not.
Totally agree, Joshua. Absolutely. Evil is not a religion in and of itself by no means, or necessary to experience it, or
you have the Satanists.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're not evil though. That's a definition of evil. You can't just blanket. You can't blanket statement Satanist.
Exactly.
Right. You just can't. There are certainly SRA victims. I mean, I agree with that as evil. I know that, but not everybody that identifies with as a Satanist commits those atrocities. Some of my friends are Satanists. Paranormal Consultant says, Chris and Kristen, love your show. And Robert, wonderful to see you again, brother. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Cool. Hi to the team, Dark Horse Paranormal. Happy New Year in 2022.
The team, well, I don't know. She says that a lot.
No, that's because we are a team.
This is the team right
this
here.
is the team, and
we have
whoever tags
moderators, nothing. It's just us.
That's it. We don't even give ourselves like assigned roles because we found it's easier to do it this way.
Yeah.
And I've had the team experience, and nothing against them. I mean, there's some incredible work that you can do, and there are things that they can do that we can't, but there's also things like we can do that they can't. So for us, this just works as a couple.
Right.
I'm having one visit my house on the 13th because I was violently shoved and fell to my home. Joshua, you're talking about a priest, an exorcist? Sorry, not sure. I think that I love when different religions embrace others' ways, especially if it's to defeat evil.
That's the way it should be. Ugh.
It isn't for the most part, though. Evil and good and bad are subjective things. In the case of like the SRA, satanic ritual abuse, and particularly children, I call that evil too. It's hard not to.
I have a big thing about this. It's a whole thing with Fiona Barnett.
Fiona Barnett, yeah.
If you look it up on YouTube, Fiona Barnett, and she talks about that, and it does go into politics. It's political, but it's not what you guys have heard probably before from other people. And
Joshua said a shaman. He's having a shaman visit his house.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Excellent.
That's very interesting.
Our friend Gail Heisen is a shaman.
She is. She's like a for real shaman. Went to Mongolia.
Yeah.
To become one. some time back, and we're gonna have her back on soon to tell us about that, because that was an aspect. She's been on the show before. Very interesting person and a good friend of ours. And in fact, she sent us an awesome Christmas present. I know we brought it up on Thursday, but
it's a Bigfoot
nightlight, and she makes her own jams and stuff. She sent us mulberry jam before, like a while back. I got after that show that she was on with us, and it was so freaking good. And she grew this, and I didn't know what a mulberry was. Fantastic. And she sent us some Concord grape jelly for Christmas that we are gonna really enjoy.
And dried apples with cinnamon on them.
Liz Milne says that was good with Robert Riggy. He's a remarkable man. He sure is. We love Robert. And and thank you, Robert, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yes,
and
thank you again so much.
Yes. Yeah, you're a good dude.
Anybody want to come on? Anne Marie Young. We could talk about numbers.
Sure. Yeah, this is open line. So if you want to join us, we have about another half hour. I would love to have you on. I'll send you a link through Facebook if that works for you, or you can give us your email address. And feel free to jump on. Lots of love to Ken Allen and what you brought up, Robert. Yeah, we're aware of, and love Ken. So we are definitely have you on our minds, brother.
The Wizard's Table.
Joshua says, well, that's a team. I love you too. Right on. It really is. It just works a lot better for us. Certainly when we talk about that other D word, right? The drama word, we have a lot less of that. That's been the experience. Anne Marie says not tonight. So
she'll always say that.
Feels like crap. We'll feel better.
But if I
that's
said,
okay.
Let's go to Salem road trip, she'll say, hell yeah.
Yeah, we had a blast with Anne going to Salem. She was up our way, and we all went out there. And we had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
Couldn't find a witch's hat.
Couldn't find a witch's hat.
But she bought us t-shirts.
That's the Salem thing. How about the rest of you? You've been to Salem, Massachusetts before? Pretty famous place. And she says, I definitely will sometime.
We're looking forward to that, Anne. Did you see my yeah.
Promise. Chris and Kristen, Robert says you are personification of the number 2. Well, that's right. There are 2 of us.
Yes.
And thank you. And we think that's a good thing.
Yes, we do.
So, we have hope. We have a lot of hope for 2022.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about it for a while, and it really does like we're feeling a change. It is like changes in the air, and I think at least on a personal level, that is going to happen. What did you guys think about 2022 coming up? And then what did you feel? We talked about climate change before. We also mentioned things like the Olympics that are taking place in February. Did you have any additional thoughts on that? Will they happen? Will there be controversy surrounding them? What do you think is going to happen? Robert mentioned political change. People may be taking back their freedoms. I think, you may mention a mask, and COVID is a thing. I could go either way. I don't know. It depends. If we get this thing under control, sure. People can push back on the mask if the thing goes really out of control. Like we get this Omicron that everybody seems to have right now.
It's spreading.
So many of our friends are getting it. But it's kind of mild, right? Not that you can't have bad effects from it. But the effects are basically mild, and that's a good thing. That puts a lot of antibodies out there, I think, to induce something like herd immunity. Seems more possible with a wave like Omicron, more in the realm. But if you get something that is creating breakthrough cases on a big scale, that is worse than, to say, Delta, then you never know. We're in the land of science fiction anymore. The idea of martial law and all that. I don't really see it being that out of the realm of possibility anymore. Josh says, my cough is terrible. I would be a promised next open call. Any thoughts on shape shifting? Well, that's an interesting one, right? Shape shifters. Yeah. I think it happens when you talk about things like Skinwalkers, and we get it to Native American legends. You see a lot of shape shifting, and I think what what they were experiencing was real. There is something to all those legends. Legends in general, very interesting. I mean, there was a fear people had that they don't have so much now about going in the woods and that kind of thing, and even nighttime. I mean, you think about a time when it was no electricity.
Right.
People, once it got dark, they pretty much had to go in. They wouldn't want to venture in those woods.
That's where a lot of the folklore and the myths come in.
Absolutely.
Thousands of years of the.
I love that movie, The Witch. And if you've seen that about the colonial times and there's a witch in the woods, there is something to that because you had to have a legitimate fear of those woods. So some of the folklore may surround natural causes like bears and things of that nature. And some of it, I think, probably was real. And maybe some of it was even manifested.
Very true. You never know.
Robert says, when I was in New Mexico and Arizona, I learned so much about skinwalkers and shapeshifters. Yeah, that's I'd love to delve into that.
That's
some
what
more.
I'm writing down right now for their next spot.
There you go. We're taking notes, Robert.
Yep.
We will do that for sure because I do think that's fascinating. Shape-shifting culture. You can also look at things like vampires, werewolves, and that kind of stuff. And if that sounds too Hollywood or hokey to you, I have to understand there are stories out there where people documented these things occurring, turning into a werewolf, the Bray Road Beast, for instance.
Yes.
Vampirism exists on all kinds of levels. So, yeah. Is it possible? Yes, probably. Especially from the spiritual side, and you take away the human biology of things. I think anything's possible. Linda says, I'm wondering if shape-shifting is a process using glamour. Okay, now glamour, you're talking about glamour magic, which also speaks to vampirism, right? And it's something, the vampire community that exists and, we're okay with, talks about a lot. Glamour magic, that is the art of making oneself look maybe more enticing or attractive.
Right.
Maybe this goes to what you were saying about looking younger, anti-aging, right? Going to look younger, right? A little glamour magic may do the trick for that.
I don't believe in that, though. Not for myself. Everything that I do goes into the universe. I'm not greedy, and I never do spells. We'll say for myself, my own self.
Well, there's a thought. We can do
there's a thought.
We can do a little glamour magic after the show.
Mirror, mirror. No, that's another thing I want to do. Anne-Marie, rabbit.
Yeah, rabbit.
We were discussing this last night.
Yeah, we saw your comment on Facebook, rabbit. No, that's something you guys seem to post a lot. And if you want to tell us a little bit about that rabbit in chat, I'll put it up on the screen because I think that's a fascinating path. Joshua Dixon says, remember Space 1999? Joshua, I do. I liked the show a lot as a child and had a large scale toy, and it's probably worth a fortune now, was their spaceship. And I can't remember the name of it, on Space 1999 that they traveled in. It was awesome. Like the doors opened and it would drop, like the legs dropped down, had these like little kind of spongy things on the feet. It was crazy cool. And I remember Space 1999. Absolutely. I wish I had all my childhood stuff.
I do too.
Star Wars.
Think about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There she goes. And Marie says, I've been doing that for years and years. Well, there you go. Linda says, it's amazing the first time you see someone, appearing taller than they are. I kept looking at this woman from across a large meeting hall, and I thought my eyes were going wonky. Yeah, well, I do think there's something to that.
Yes, there is.
Absolutely. We were talking a little bit about Ingo Swann on Thursday. It was this really amazing remote viewer. This guy remote viewed rings around Jupiter, ice rings that NASA hadn't seen yet, and had sent up a space probe, and they were verified. In fact, there were 13 things about Jupiter that were verified by NASA that he had drawn in his remote view and detailed. So why am I saying that? I forgot. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So I'm reading a book by Ingo Swann called Penetration, and he talks about a woman in a supermarket that he sees, and there's like these secret government agency guys that are watching her too, and he's just like incredibly drawn to her. A lot of glamour magic, if you will, going on there, but the long and short of it is she's an alien. So you can think about that, how aliens might fit into our society and be using things like glamour magic. The glamour community is just cosplaying. Well, yeah, no. If you get into the vampire community there, I think some of them take it rather seriously.
Yes.
But I'm sure there is some of that as well. Absolutely. So anybody else want to come up?
How about did we get a Gmail from?
Oh yeah, we had a gentleman that emailed us during the last show. I thought I'd see him in chat. He had some UFO footage. Ursmiel Aguelo. If you're out there, let us know. Please hit us up in chat. We can bring you on and play your video and show you pictures. He took some UFO footage in his backyard apparently last night, and it's pretty cool. That's what this is for. Open lines. Any story you want to tell. Anybody got a shape-shifting story? Feel free to join. Let us know. We're all for it. Linda says, "There you go, glamour on the go. I didn't know it was called magic. I think of it as psychic." Well, I think there's a big correlation, Linda, between magic and sorcery and psychic abilities. I think there's a lot to that. It also ties back to alien abduction phenomena, which is fascinating. If you get into books, like there's a book behind us called Beyond UFOs. It's recommended to us by Nathaniel J. Gillis, our buddy, Nate. And it's a good book, and it talks about how Ray Hernandez, in particular, talks about what he coined the contact modalities, something Grant Cameron talks about a lot. He knows Ray. And that's where people are abducted and they walk away with psychic abilities afterwards. They seem to be intensified. People start having astral projections, as we mentioned before, maybe a telepathy that they never experienced, precognition, clairvoyance, these sort of psychic superpowers. They're touched by them since the phenomena of the alien abduction occurred. And that's pretty interesting. They all seem to be positive, right? And that's something we discuss with Nate a lot. Not all the abductions seem positive, but a lot of them are. But I think it's absolutely tied back to paranormal, and sorcery. And we talk about intent, setting an intent. Another thing we were talking about a lot on Thursday, with dreams, right? So you could set an intent for your dreams, like to maybe have a precognitive experience. You want to know the answer to something, or you want to see something. You set an intention before you go to bed, and you basically, go to bed and sleep on it, right? And jot down what you wake up thinking about, whatever dream you're in. Very good idea to start a dream journal. I've done this on and off from time to time. It does help you recollect your dreams. Much better if you use them for about 2 weeks. You'll start to see a difference. Your brain will train itself to tell you to, write that down right away as soon as you wake up, and you remember your dreams better. Liz Milne says, "I believe in aliens, and there must be other planets than just our one." Chris and Kristen, absolutely, Liz. We absolutely agree. I do think there are aliens in there. It's got to be. In fact, it's more than probable mathematically that there are aliens from other planets. Absolutely, totally agree. Awesome. Anne Marie on the rabbit. First day of the month for luck.
Yes,
that's right. And I like the history behind that, though. Where did that stem from? We were looking at that.
I don't know where the origins came from. I just asked her when she started doing that. Was she young? Oh, she sent us a link from Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
I've already read the link last night.
There you go. I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
That's on the rabbit. First of the month.
I was just wondering when when she started doing that, if it was young, if she was young. And
yeah, I just think it's a cool thing to say, because it's not well known. First of the month for good luck, say rabbit, 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 then make your statement of what you want to happen. I believe is where that's at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Linda says maybe the pineal gland is affected by the light encountered in an alien abduction. Oh, that's a cool thought.
That's a deep thought.
That's a deep thought. Yeah, I like that. I like that, and that's very possible. The results and results in the abilities being switched on. Well, yeah, there seems to be something to that. And there's also a lot of alien abductions happen in the dream state, and people are half awake, half asleep. And a lot of things happen in that dream state, like out-of-body experiences anyways. So I think there's a tie into that phenomena. It's one of the reasons why we talk about things like parapsychology, which is kind of this more science aspect.
In depth. Yeah.
Detail, rather than, all right, the cat ball went off behind us on the shelf. We will love both, but we want to know why that cat ball goes off. You know what I mean? And can we make it go off with our minds and that sort of stuff? How does everything work? And yeah, that is
and tie together with our
intentions,
our senses, like the sixth sense. People say, and
absolutely, there's absolutely related. All of this phenomena is related. Science hasn't caught up with it, but it's good to see what they do show. And those people are generally regarded in their own communities as, outsiders, because it's not accepted, or so much materialistic
pseudoscience.
Science is
basically, they call it,
is shoved down everyone's throat from entering grade school, that it's hard for them to break away from it.
We're conditioned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm experiencing this with my son. He doesn't believe in anything, even though he grew up with me and around this stuff, because he is like a materialist right now, and that's being given to him by the educational system. Thank you very much. And Robert Riggy says shapeshifters are very dangerous to non-Native Americans. When I was with my shaman friends, we went in to the mountains of northern New Mexico and pointed out to me an animal in the distance, and they told me that it was a shapeshifter, and they began to pray in Navajo language in front of my eyes, and the animal disappeared. Wow. Well, that's interesting, right? We were watching a documentary on Hawaii and the volcanic activity in Hawaii last night. Was one of the things we had on, and the indigenous people of Hawaii, those natives, seemingly had the houses that survived the 2018. What was the name of that volcano? I can't think of it. Kilauea. There was a volcanic activity. It wiped out a town, and lots of people had to evacuate. But the way they feel is when a volcanic activity occurs, they go outside and mow the lawn. They give thanks to their house, their homes. They trim the bushes, that kind of thing. And seemingly, there's were the houses that were the most spared. So yeah, the fascinating way. Their cultures were awesome, are awesome. In fact, we were doing a dance. They were giving a tribute to a god of nature, and
they were giving an offering. Yes,
offering tribute. Yep, and it included alcohol. Now I find that fascinating. That's a topic we had to get into at some point, because so many of these tributes and offerings, whether it's to a deceased friend, whether it's you're gods. Entering a cemetery, that kind of thing. And this happens in hoodoo all the time. Voodoo, I believe, as well, makes use of alcohol as a tribute offering item. And tobacco's the other one. So it's like drinking and smoking, and they don't seem like the healthiest of things.
No, but
I guess on the other side, it's irrelevant, right?
When we go out, I have an arsenal of that.
Yeah, we do.
Well,
and we do.
Sometimes
we're not going to say we don't do any of those tributes. We do, and I just think it's fascinating as to why.
It's so they speak to us, let us, come in to the cemetery. We
give thanks.
Give thanks, and ask for their permission, basically, and that's why we do it.
Donna says, "Good evening from Toronto, Canada. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe, happy, and happy New Year's in 2022." And yes, happy New Year's, Donna. Thank you for jumping on. We appreciate it. Joshua says, "I use a voice recorder, even though many say it should be written down, but between the sleep and wake process, you can lose so much." Yeah, that's a good idea too, Joshua. Yes. Using a voice recorder. And I use them for all sorts of things. Obviously, we use them for our investigating, and I have, well, I thought I had it in front of me, but it might be back on the shelf. But yes, that's a good idea. Absolutely. When I have an idea, like, something I might lose, I used to do that commuting a lot, and can't write, I would use a voice recorder to try to remember my thoughts. Same thing with dream recall. So great idea. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, some toys here, but we're getting close to the end of the show. How would you guys like to see like some live spirit box sessions? Are you interested in doing that? We always have one handy. We can throw it up on the console here and hear that. That might be something we do in addition to open lines, as well as our fabulous guests. We got some great guests coming up this month of January. Just wanted to tell you about, I know we have Katie Stafford coming on.
Yes,
who's
we can't wait.
ITC master. In fact, we're waiting on a Nanocom S from him, and hopefully having time for the show to show you that. Let's see what else we got coming on. I think Robert Bosniak might be coming back. We have folks from 222 Paranormal Podcast coming on to join us. Yeah, we got lots of stuff. So, stay tuned.
We'll be on other people's podcasts as well.
Oh, that's right. We're going to be doing some interviews and expressing some of our ideas and things that we're working on and have done out there. We're going to be on with Shay, our friend Shay Carroll, Paranormal Buzz Radio, and do another interview with her. It's been a while, and we love Shay. Andrea Perron's show, I believe we're going to set something up for her as well. So, yeah, a few things going. Absolutely. We've been on the wonderful Wizards Table.
Yes.
Wizards Table. Put that out there.
We have to do that because when he calls us on the phone, he's Bigfoot and the Bunny are my friends and I love them.
Robert says, next time on your podcast, I will be in Pine Ridge Native American Reservation in Pine Ridge, South Dakota with the Agala and Lakota Sioux Nation.
That's awesome. I envy you. I really do. I would love to do that.
That is so cool. So we're looking forward to that. Liz says, yes, that would be great with the spirit box on the show. Absolutely, Liz. We did it with Jim Hunt, and we did get a little bit of data when we did it live. What we were talking about in the subject matter, I did a session after we did, and we got more data that was actually really relevant to what we were talking about. So that was interesting. Questions: when you talk to spirits, you ask them to go into the light, and if they see it, well, that is kind of the beginner way, and we are beginners of crossing spirits, right? Walking to the light. It seems like that there's an intent that's there. Rescue mediums will bring their deceased loved ones through that light and ask them to come through for that person. As well as spirit release therapy, SRT. People like Dr. Terrence Palmer, whose work I admire a lot. Edith Fiore wrote The Unquiet Dead. That's what they speak of, bringing out the loved ones through that light and assisting them back into the light or into the light. NDEs report that light a lot. NDE experiences is fascinating. We've had some NDEs on our show, and intend to have more because I think the phenomenon's great. What happens when we die? Like, who doesn't want to know that, right?
Yeah.
Joshua says, so there is some unity that's just amazing. Yes, there is, right? So the Wizard's Table, there's some para unity right there for you. Absolutely. Mark Lee's group, he does help them go into the light. Excellent. Yeah, we're looking forward to talking about that. And it does seem to be where a lot of that goes, go into the light. It just seems like it's like, oh, that's too easy. But we kind of did something like this with Child Spirit Toby. And when we went back to that location, it was a location we had visited repeatedly, got the same voice, a child's voice on our spirit box, and we might even had EVPs of Toby. Fascinating stuff. anyways,
Where's
definitely talking to something because we'd get the same answers when we returned. Or,
Yeah.
Each
I
of us
felt it
would
was
ask the
definitely
same
a
question.
child.
Yeah, it seemed that way. And we tried to walk him out. He felt trapped in there. That's what he told us. We thought
He
there
was
might have
afraid
been.
to leave.
Yes, he literally said that to us, afraid to leave. And we thought that maybe there was another presence there keeping him there. And we, Kristen crushed candy and herbs, and we led a trail out. And
Did a little bit of a.
we did bring up that light,
thing and-
and sure as heckany,
Yeah.
he didn't seem to be there when we returned. So, is there something to it? Hell yeah, I think so. I think there's more to learn in that field, I guess.
Absolutely.
Should be what I
There's
meant
so
to
many
say.
things we want to learn, but we have to do one step at a time in order for us to figure out.
That's right. There are people that really have put a lot of time into this.
Correlates.
They're doing it, like Mark Lee. So yeah, we'll discuss all of that. But yeah, that's fascinating. And yeah, I think we're just about out of time. We were just going to pop on and say hi, and look at 2 hours has gone by. So
look what happened.
Thank you. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, and thank you so much.
Keep it positive.
If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have anything here. So.
That's right. We wouldn't have a show. So we really appreciate it.
You.
This is proof of that, because we'd just be talking to ourselves. And what fun is that? Not that we don't.
Yeah.
I talk to myself
all the time. I talk to myself all the time.
It's just when I answer back that it gets a little weird. But no, love you guys, and thank you so much. We'll see you this coming Thursday. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Thanks again. We love you.